All right, so excuse the lighting. It's a little bit darker outside today, but I wanted to go ahead and make this video anyway. So I did a little bit more digging into the story of where the employees got the chip out in Wisconsin, which was the first company in America to implement the chip to its employees. And I found out how they responded after the CEO initially asked them if they wanted to get the chip. And honestly, I was pretty surprised by the response. Now, a reporter from Good Morning America asked the CEO what the employee said when he brought the idea of getting the chip to them. And here's exactly what he said. He said, half of them within 5 seconds said yes. Half of the employees within 5 seconds said yes. So, in other words, he's telling us it did not take them much time to think about it. It doesn't sound like anybody was like, oh my gosh, the chip? What is happening here? But most of them said, yeah, okay. Now, this is what he's saying. I did see a couple of people who were actually interviewed from that company. One employee did say, in fact, he didn't have a problem with getting it at all. And then there was another employee who said she was skeptical because she thought it might track her. But when she found out that it did not track her, she went ahead and she got it as well. Now, again, some people, you may look at videos like this and you're like, well, I sure wouldn't. I don't care if everybody else around me agreed. But here's the thing, this is natural psychology. If you are in a room full of people, let's say you're in a meeting, right? And you work for a larger company and you have 50 people in that meeting, and your manager gets up and says, hey, we're going to roll out the chip probably in a couple of weeks or so here. Would any of you be willing to get it? And you see where most people are not moved, they're not bothered, they're just kind of sitting there. They're like, oh, yeah, yeah, I would get it, sure. And you're like your initial shock of a response, if you see where everybody else is just kind of nonchalant about it, for a lot of people, you're going to kind of calm down a little bit and just say, oh, well, nobody else is overreacting to this new information. So if I were to overreact, I would stand out and everybody's going to look at me like I'm the crazy person. So this particular news reporter, she asked the CEO, what did it take to persuade the holdouts, the people who didn't just say yes within 5 seconds? And here's what he said exactly. He said, basically, we had to explain to them there's no tracking of information, it's not GPS or anything like that. And that was one of the concerns one of the employees had when she was interviewed, like I was just talking about. She said, well, I was concerned that, it would track me. And I'm kind of thinking, well, is that really your only concern? Right. And most people may think, well, you know what? If I get it, you can just pop it right out. That was one of their kind of selling tactics. I don't know if they were trying to use it as a selling tactic, but they said, hey, this little chip is only about the size of a grain of rice. You put it into your right hand and you can pop it out just like you would pop out a splinter. So it's not a big deal. Like if you get it and you decide you don't want it anymore, you just take it out. And what they're not talking about is the long term side effects even after you take it out. Okay, and that is probably something that will come in a different video. This is something that I am quite interested in. I'm digging more into it because even though this was the first company to do it, and that was a few years ago, I certainly don't believe it's going to be the last company to do it. So, just in case anybody's wondering, the FDA, according to the news article that I read, had already approved this radio frequency technology. Now, I will say for certain, if I am not able to go through a metal detector without the radiation negatively affecting me, I am pretty certain that I wouldn't even be able to insert the chip into me anyway without feeling the negative side effects. And I know some people think that, it was baloney what I said in my last video about feeling the negative side effects of going through a metal detector. And you can think whatever you want to think, right? You're not in my body. You don't feel what I feel. And I, like I said in another video, I do believe that most of the employees, if not all of the employees, did in fact go through the metal detector. Just because I am the one person, to my knowledge, that verbalized feeling the negative side effects of going through a metal detector in the past, it doesn't mean that other people have never felt these side effects. Most people, and if you read the book, The Power of Now, you'll see exactly what I mean. Most people are constantly caught up in the thoughts that are running through their mind. They are not paying attention to the emotion and the feelings of what's actually going on in their bodies. Okay, if you're thinking in your mind, oh, I got to do this, I got to do this, and you're going through a metal detector, you're not going to be thinking about, oh man, I felt this in my body, because you're not really paying attention to your body. You're paying attention to the constant thoughts that are running through your mind. Okay, but I have learned to be more in tune to my body, to be more in tune to the Holy Spirit inside of me, and it doesn't make me any better than anybody else. Okay, it's just that my focus is a little bit more different. So I said all of that to say that when this comes out, the chip, because obviously it's going to come out and it's going to get rolled out into a lot of corporate companies, because I believe they know that if your job depends on it, a lot of people are going to do it. Okay, bottom line, you say, I have to make a livelihood, I have to eat, so I'm going to do it. But if this comes out to a job near you and you're in, for example, like I said earlier, you're in a meeting and everybody around you seems cool with it, what are you going to do? These are just things to think about. I'm just leaving everybody with food for thought, but I wanted to leave it there. Let me know how you would respond. A lot of people, like he said, they responded within 5 seconds and said, yeah, I'll do it. Sure, not a problem. What would you do?